हेलो गाइस, तो कैसे हैं आप लोग। तो मैं आ गया हूँ वापस एक और नए वीडियो के साथ। तो आज हम यहाँ पे स्पेलंकी 2 का रिव्यू करने वाले हैं। काफ़ी बढ़िया गेम है। ऐसी गेम्स हमने काफ़ी खेली है बचपन से लेके अब तक। तो इस बार इसमें क्या नया है तो आज हम देखेंगे। तो आपने अब तक अगर चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और साथ ही साथ उस बेल आइकन को भी प्रेस कर दीजिए ताकि मेरे वीडियोस की नोटिफिकेशन आपको मिलती रहे टाइम टू टाइम। तो विदाउट फर्दर ado, लेट्स गो।
Let me set the stage for this review by saying that Spelunky is one of my favorite video games of all time. It's the game that I point to as one of the best examples of emerging gameplay, risk versus reward design, and a model for the roguelike genre as a whole. All of that is still true with Spelunky 2.
Spelunky 2.
But make no mistake, this is a true sequel that doesn't rest on its laurels. One that embraces all the things that made the original so wonderful, while also finding new and completely unexpected ways to improve upon the sense of exploration and discovery that's so central to the experience. Yes, it's brutally and often hilariously difficult, but if you can learn enough of its secrets to
काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट रहने वाली है। डिफिकल्टी लेवल बढ़ा दी उन्होंने बेसिकली।
endlessly engaging as Spelunky 2. This, my friends,
तो ट्रैप्स है, काफ़ी ट्रैप्स है यहाँ पे, आप देख सकते हो।
Not much of an emphasis is placed on the story, but the gist of it is that you play as the Spelunky guy's daughter searching for her lost parents. Like its predecessor, Spelunky 2 is a seemingly simple and disarmingly cartoony 2D platformer that challenges you to get your stout little Indiana Jones-like character from point A to point B in procedurally generated levels while collecting as much treasure and as many items as you can. And when you die, and you will die, in true roguelike fashion, the world completely rearranges itself for the next attempt. Part of the genius of Spelunky's design is that its randomization demands that you carefully examine each area before rushing in so stuff like this doesn't happen.
Oh.
At the same time, the clock is always ticking. If you take more than 3 minutes on a level, a
3 मिनट लेवल
spawns
के दिया है यहाँ पे उन्होंने। ये घोस्ट आ जाएगा नहीं तो।
To survive for long, you have to read the room accurately and do it fast. Dying is punishing, yes, as it causes you to restart all the way back at the beginning and
सीधा शुरुआत से स्टार्ट होता है
obtained in your previous life. But what ends up happening is that the more you play, the more a visual language starts to take form. And understanding it allows you to instantly recognize potential life-stealing hazards and know how to deal with them. There are no persistent upgrades outside of shortcuts that let you skip early levels, so anytime you make it further than you've ever been, it's all because of your own skills and knowledge. That's a very powerful feeling. It helps too that the controls are a dream. You get just the right amount of mid-air control to make pinpoint accurate jumps with great speed, and just the right amount of leeway on timing to easily make jumps in tight spaces that would be extremely frustrating in a lot of platformers. The developer, Mossmouth, does a few small things to make the early goings of Spelunky 2 at least a tiny bit easier than the original. The most substantial leg up is that, if you're okay with being a soulless monster, you can bomb turkeys for life-restoring cooked meat. Also, there's more light and dark levels, and shopkeepers don't get mad at you unless you're specifically the cause of the random act of God that wrecked their shop, which is much appreciated. The biggest difference in how a run-through of Spelunky 2 plays out is that it's no longer a linear progression of levels that has you going from mines to jungles to caves to temple, and for the truly hardcore, to hell. Instead, you start at the dwelling, which is Spelunky 2's version of the mines. And from there, you're able to choose where you go next. Take the path on the left, and you'll travel to the jungle. Take the path on the right, and instead you'll have to contend with Volcano. This fiery new area takes full advantage of Spelunky 2's new fluid dynamic system, and will make you think twice about bombing the base of a lava pool. Runs continue to diverge even further from there in ways that I don't want to spoil, but rest assured, each area is jam-packed with its own set of mysteries, NPCs, and hidden exits that all dramatically impact how each run plays out. Reaching every new area is uniquely terrifying because you have to discover a whole new set of rules involving all new enemies and traps, while saddled with the pressure of
दो डोर यहाँ पे रहने वाले हैं,
making it further than you ever have before.
और दोनों यहाँ पे
It's
अलग-अलग
truly
एरिया में
amazing
लेके
that
जाएंगे।
even after 40 hours of playtime, 20 of which I spent getting my very first win, I still haven't uncovered even half of what's hidden behind Spelunky 2's many locked doors and cryptic messages. It's incredible how much more is still out there. So, what else is new in Spelunky 2? Well, first off, there are now rideable animal mounts. But as with almost everything in Spelunky 2, they each come with their own risks and rewards. In order to tame an animal, you must first jump on it and try to survive for a few seconds as it runs around wildly. If you survive that ordeal, a mount is a huge help. You gain a double jump and whatever their special ability is. Crucially, they also take hits for you while you're riding them. So even if you do trip an arrow trap or fall into spikes, your animal will be the one to selflessly take the damage. Another big new idea is that almost every level essentially has another level hidden behind the wall that you can enter and exit by way of special doors. This could have been a superficial feature, but it's used brilliantly.
यहाँ पे स्पेशल डोर्स भी होने वाले हैं, तो 2 से ज़्यादा डोर्स रहेंगे.
And create some fun diversions. There's also a handful of new items that can change the way you approach a run, though you'll still likely rely on stalwarts like the bomb box, paste, and of course the holy grail, the jetpack. The important thing to note about Spelunky 2's difficulty is that it's not due to a reliance on twitch reflexes, ridiculously tough enemies, complex boss battles, or anything along those lines. Every enemy, trap, and hazard has a very simple cause and effect or behavior to it that you just have to learn to understand, like arrow traps, spiders, tiki traps, shopkeepers, and so on.
Shopkeeper भी मार गए.
Difficulty is derived from the improvisation needed to be able to handle these predictable hazards even as they're thrown at you in unpredictable ways. It's a very unique brand of difficulty that's exceptionally satisfying to overcome and always feels fair. Always. The best part is everything conforms to a set of rules. And as a result, you'll often come across extremely memorable moments born from interesting interactions that you wouldn't expect. Like the time I tried to buy a shield from the shop. Or the time I forgot that a shotgun has recoil. Or the time I got excited about finding spike shoes. It's in these moments of both tragic death and the ones where you're working to avoid the same fate where Spelunky 2 truly comes to life. Perhaps the biggest surprise about Spelunky 2 is how robust and fun the multiplayer options are. This time around, the arena mode feels clearly informed by excellent multiplayer indie games like Duck Game and Towerfall, and the results are a literal blast. Maps are much bigger with better planned out hazards that give each level a distinct theme. There are a ton of options to customize the type of game you want to play, including a Smash Bros.-esque item customization menu, and if you grow tired of the craziness of straight-up deathmatch, there's a much more cerebral mode that challenges you to hold on to a golden idol for a total of 20 seconds, which is a nice twist on the formula. Cooperative play works pretty much the same as before, which is to say that it's a bundle of absolute chaos. Sure, it's definitely helpful to be able to have a couple of extra pairs of hands to carry more items, but it's balanced by the addition of Spelunky 2's most dangerous enemy, friendly fire.
Did I just kill you?
There is a ton of coordination required to make it through Spelunky 2 in co-op, especially because the camera is always centered on one player, but if you don't take things too seriously, it can be a riotous good time.
Oh.
Spelunky 2 also features online multiplayer, though the servers weren't available at the time of this review, so unfortunately, I wasn't able to test it out.
तो यहाँ पे मल्टीप्लेयर और कोऑप मोड भी है. अच्छी बात है.
I wasn't sure what I wanted out of a sequel of Spelunky, given how high of a pedestal I keep the original game on. How do you improve upon a game like that? But Mossmouth took its time and managed to deliver a masterpiece that improves upon its predecessor in ways I never would have even imagined. Spelunky 2 takes everything that made the original great and expands upon each of those individual aspects without ever overcomplicating the elegant, retro simplicity of its 2D platforming. The possibilities for interactions between yourself, your enemies, and the environment are virtually limitless, which is a part of what makes every new run in Spelunky 2 so unpredictable and exciting. It doesn't do much to win over the people who already weren't fans of the original's unforgiving difficulty, but as someone who is more than 200 runs in and feels like he's only scratched the surface, Spelunky 2 is a game that I see myself playing for a long, long time. For more Spelunky 2, check out my full commentated playthrough of a complete run from start to finish. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
तो काफ़ी बढ़िया गेम है गाइस, तो काफ़ी मज़ा आएगा जब ये रिलीज़ होगी, तो तब तक के लिए हम वेट करेंगे इसका। तो अगर आपको ये गेम अच्छी लगी है तो वीडियो को लाइक कर दीजिए और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलना। तो मिलता हूँ मैं आपको अगले वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए गुड बाय।